Webinar for National Home Buying Week. Thank you so much for joining us, and we want to help you unlock the door to your first home. So why did we at First Time Buyer magazine decide to launch this special week? Well, we know that it's very hard to navigate the whole process of buying your first home, and we wanted to make it very, very simple. No jargon, no complications, just as much information as you can possibly get, so that when you decide to buy your first home, it's a much easier route. And today we're joined by some fantastic people from who are partners, including our headline sponsor, Catalyst, who we are really delighted to welcome today. And I'd like to introduce them all. So Markus Kendall-Young, who is Director of Sales and Marketing at Catalyst. Hello, Markus. Hello, thank you very much for joining us. Lauren Parfitt, who's our sales consultant at Be West.
Hi.
Hello, Lauren, thank you. And Stuart Hensby, Associate Director at Sales and Marketing at Abri. So
Hi.
Thank you. Hi, thank you very much. So we'll just start with, if I'll go round, and if you'd just like to tell us a little bit about what you do, and obviously how first-time buyers can go on and talk to you about buying their first home. Markus, would you like to start?
Yes, thanks, Lynda. So I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing at Catalyst. Catalyst are one of the G15 Housing Association members. So we're one of the largest housing associations in London. We have a mixture of products available for sale, which include both shared ownership and help to buy or traditional outright sale models. We actually operate not only across London, but also across the home counties region as well. So our reach kind of runs from Oxfordshire through to Cambridgeshire and that kind of arc there, and also around London as well. So we also offer purchasers the opportunity to come and have a look at many show homes across our region. So we have show homes in most of our marketing suites, and we have our sales executives based in marketing suites there across most of our developments. So we've got a fantastic website, obviously very happy to let people have a look there at catalyst.homes, and of course, we'd be delighted to help anybody to come and have a look at their home buying journey with us.
Thank you, fantastic. Lauren, a little bit about Be West.
Hi, thanks for that. So I'm Lauren. I'm currently the Senior Sales Consultant with Be West Group. Be West is actually part of Shepherd's Bush Housing Association, and it's a company that's set up independently from the Housing Association, and it's a new brand. So we've actually only launched the website a couple of weeks ago, so all very, very new. I encourage you to go and take a look. Quite proud of it all internally, and it's a success story for us. And that's at bewest.co.uk if anyone does want to take a look. And it's a company that operates in the 4 boroughs of West London, and it's for shared ownership and private sale. And the aim, as you can probably see, even when you look on the website, everything is black and white. It's to take a no-nonsense approach to shared ownership buying. So similar to what is happening this week with Home Buying Week, where it's cutting out the jargon. That's what Be West does as a company as a whole. We want to be very approachable. We want to be very simple. And we don't want to be a company that hides anything or leaves anything really to question. So at the moment, as I say, we're operating in the 4 boroughs of West London. We have 2 live developments and 4 developments which are still coming soon. So we're still growing, but in a very, very positive way. So we have anything from properties in West Drayton to Chiswick, Ealing, etc. So very different varieties of properties as well.
Great, lovely. Thank you, Lauren. Stuart, can you tell us a bit about Abri, please?
Yeah, of course, Lynda. Thank you. And thank you for having me, and welcome everyone to today's webinar. So yeah, my name is Stuart Hensby. I'm the Sales Marketing Director for Abri Group. Who are Abri? Well, Abri are one of the South's largest housing associations. We cover the southern home counties and also the southwest. So everywhere below the M4 and sort of bound by the motorways in the south of England. We look after about just under 40,000 homes across the south. And Abri actually means shelter in French. which is a nice little story. And that's exactly what we're here to do. We're here to help people shelter and help people get in their new home, and to look after you as much as possible. We deliver a range of new homes and second-hand homes through shared ownership and also through open market sale throughout the south of England and southwest of England. You know, we're delighted to be part of this initiative. You know, for us, buying a home, whether it's new or secondhand, through a multitude of schemes that are out there, you know, it's a daunting process, and we really want to help people as much as possible.
Fantastic, thank you. You learn something every day. Abri means shelter. Well, that's one that's going to have to be remembered. Thank you. Before we start with the questions, I'd just like to remind anybody that's watching, this is a live session and we encourage you to comment and ask questions on our Facebook page. But if you think of something that you'd like to discuss later in the week, email your questions to admin@nationalhomebuyingweek.co.uk. Right, well, I think we'll now get on to some really interesting questions. Could we have the first one, please, Dawn?
Yeah, can you tell us what type of homes you have available for first-time buyers?
Fine. Markus, can you give us a bit of an overview of the homes you have?
Yeah, we're very lucky we have a really good mixture at Catalyst. So because of our operating region, we have everything from sort of traditional apartments in London and across our operating area across London, through to townhouses, detached houses, semi-detached houses, everything kind of in between on those counties areas. So we've got some really good mixtures. Some of our sort of selling sites at the moment include the Switch, which is at Wimbledon. And the Switch is a hugely popular development that launched in January, and we have a range of apartments there that are actually wrapped around AFC Wimbledon's new football club. So it's a really interesting location, and we've got everything from studio, 1-bed, 2-bed, 3-bed apartments there, and all within easy distance of Garrett Lane, some really interesting areas of Wimbledon. So that's a really good location. And then if we kind of think about other offerings that are outside of there, across sort of our county's operating area, in the heart of Bedfordshire, we have a super development at the moment that's selling really well and very popular with shared ownership purchases. We have 2, 3 and 4 bedroom houses available there, and that's called the Lanes, which is over at Houghton Regis. So I think we've got something for everybody, and you know, we have a whole range of properties available, different buying options available, and lots of ways to enable people to get into their first home.
That's really good, very diverse. So that's fantastic. Stuart, can you tell us a little bit about Abri's homes? What you know, have you offering? You said a bit about the regions, but what specifically?
Yeah, absolutely, Lynda. So the great thing about our operating areas, you know, we cover the larger towns and cities such as Bristol, where we've got a multitude of apartment schemes available. One called one in Dean Street in particular. You know, we've got a lot of other schemes coming through in that area as well. It's a very popular place for people wanting to get onto the home ownership ladder. We've got other schemes such as Centenary Quay down in Southampton, which is again a very popular apartment scheme. We've got 2-bedroom apartments there as well. And then we've also got schemes in more rural areas that are coming through and also available. And then moving up a bit more north, sort of into Berkshire, we've got a scheme in an area of Windsor, which offers sort of maisonettes on shared ownership and also some open market sales. So I think what's great is we've got a whole diverse range, a diverse product portfolio of new homes to suit everybody's needs. We've got, you know, circa 20 schemes running at the moment, and we've got many more coming through, and all available through shared ownership or on the open market as well. We've got certain schemes, so we've got hopefully something that can meet everybody's needs. And I think something that's really important as well is, especially in the past 12 months, to everybody who's tuning in, is, you know, obviously the way that we live and the way that we work, that dynamic's really changed. And I think everybody, including everybody on the call would agree that we're taking stock on the kind of homes that we're offering everybody, and trying to think, right, okay, so in our new normal, everybody's working at home in our rooms, in our living rooms, or even in our bedrooms, etc. How can we think about doing that a bit differently for everybody? How can we build that into the communities that we're creating? So we're really trying to think about that in all of the schemes that we're doing, and future schemes as well. So just to try and give people what they need in the homes of the future, essentially.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really interesting. Lauren, tell us a little bit about you've told us a bit about the area. Tell us a bit about the schemes that you've got going.
Yeah, so we actually have 2 schemes which are live now and 3 which are coming soon. So what we have now is probably one of the largest developments that we have. It's called Waterside Heights, and it actually hugs along the Union Canal. So you get really nice views, this very tranquil lifestyle. So more of a community feeling there, definitely not just sort of homes. You get a very involved feeling. Also, one of the things that we champion with Be West is similarly to what Stuart has just said, where we're also considering what it's like now, how living in your home is different. And part of that is responsible pet ownership as standard across Be West, together with a lot more things where the new normal is changing. And that's definitely part of it. And it's great to see the positive feedback we've been getting from Waterside Heights. So just from our 8th week of viewing, we're already easily 25 apartments sold there, which is a very positive turnaround for us. And it's definitely the kind of development you want to see, because it's very well connected, south facing. It's really lovely. It's definitely a personal favorite of mine, I have to say. But we have others which are definitely coming soon, and a lot of regeneration developments, which I love. We have a development coming soon called The Vale, which is in Ealing, and it gives you this really grand feeling because you have a double height entrance and a really wide door, so you just have this different feeling to coming home. So it's just getting that new, more of a lifestyle, more of a different feel nowadays, I think, is where Be West are focusing on. But we also have Renaissance West in Acton, 78 Barrowgate coming soon in Chiswick. And we're also setting the Apex now in Fulham North, which is a 2-bed development. So yeah, very, very interesting and very versatile areas.
Very. Well, you're all really busy. It's great. Absolutely fantastic.
Lynda, could I just comment as well, just on what Lauren was saying? I think some really good points there. I think what's really important to all you buyers out there is we're really looking at the future in terms of not only the makeup of a new community, but the locations are quite different now, because I guess sort of 12 plus months ago, it wasn't necessarily you need to be within 500 yards or a mile of a train station. Now that can change, because you might only need to go into that office 1 day a week, maybe 2 days a week. Whereas before it's 5 days, I've got to be within 5 minutes of that bus stop or the train station. So that the whole mindset of what we're trying to offer everybody in the marketplace is changing as well. So we're really trying to adapt.
I think that's very true, Stuart. Are you finding the same thing, Markus?
I absolutely am, yes. And I think we've seen quite a lot of purchasers rethinking, where they want to be or what's important to them at the moment. And that's we've seen that probably the most in our counties region. So we have seen quite a lot of people that have decided maybe that London's not for them at the moment. They want to be somewhere, a bit more out in the open. And actually probably a little bit of vice versa, to be honest. So I think people are, redefining what their home should be and where it should be. So yeah, I agree.
I think that the first time buyer is now considering lifestyle as much as anything else. What is their lifestyle? What is it they aspire to have?
Mm-hmm.
It is quite different to what it would have been, say, 18 months ago, even a year ago. It's very, very interesting. Great.
I think as well, Lynda, with that, with those lifestyle choices, which are starting to evolve in a different pattern than we've ever known before, it really opens up options to buyers, because I think suddenly, and I know personally sort of friends that this has affected positively, that suddenly there's an area which might be slightly more affordable as well, and obviously shared ownership plays into that beautifully in terms of being able to get onto the ladder, but areas which weren't of interest or weren't feasible suddenly are, and I think that's really important as well.
It has opened up a lot of opportunities, I think. Well, something's got to come out of the pandemic that's good. Not much else has.
Exactly.
Let's move on to another question, Dawn.
Yeah, so this one's a two-part question. It's, why do developments have service charges, and what does this cost usually cover?
Oh, service charges. Right, Lauren, tell us a bit about your service charge situation.
It's a good question. It's a question probably every viewer asks without fail. And actually, I can tell you firsthand what the benefits I've found of having a service charge is myself. So I actually live in a shared ownership apartment. And so I know firsthand sort of what the challenges around service charges are and what the concerns people see when they see a service charge payment. But it's there to look after you really at the end of the day. And so what it's there for is it covers things like your communal heating, electricity, but also the maintenance, the repairs. It also pays into a fund, imagine like a pot of money that's just there for a rainy day. So I don't know, some people use credit cards in case something breaks in their house, that's what a service charge is. It's that just in case money, so that if something goes wrong that the housing association is not expecting to pay out for, they have the reserve that they can dip into to use it for. It also very essentially covers your build warranty, which is really not something to not be taken for granted. It covers a lot more than a lot of first-time buyers think. To give you an idea, about 2 years ago, I actually had a personal experience where my handbag was actually stolen. So I had to replace my keys of my shared ownership flat. And that resulted in obviously an unexpected cost for me, but silver lining, loss and theft of keys is covered for in my build warranty, which I didn't know. And I work in the industry, and I found that out from firsthand experience. So there's a lot, and I always encourage shared owners to, first of all, open the line of communication with your sales consultant. They are there to help. So don't see them as the enemy. But also read into your little, your extras, read into your building insurance, read into your service charge, ask the question, and ask for your service charge budget and the breakdown of that as well.
Yeah, that's very good advice. We always tell our readers, read the small print. That's so important. Markus, can you tell us a little bit about what you think about service charge?
I think it's one of those things, Lynda, that you have to factor in when you're initially looking at buying, and that's really, really important. Some people sometimes forget that needs to be included. So it's really important to talk about that, obviously, with the salesperson when you're initially looking, and also with your mortgage advisor when you're looking to obtain your mortgage. And all of that will be factored in. But Lauren's absolutely right. It is there to essentially look after everything around your building, and all of those communal fees and anything to do with your insurance for your building, etc. So, but you do need to factor it in, absolutely, and that's something that's really important.
Absolutely. Very, very good advice, Markus. Thank you. Stuart, have you anything to add to the service charge?
Yeah, just to mirror what Markus and Lauren have said, really, it's there to look after your surroundings, to look after the community that you're living in. HAs, and I know we certainly do at Abri, we'll look at those charges and make sure that they're fair and representative of what needs to be costed in, to make sure that you've got, if you're living in an apartment, that apartment block is looked after and repaired and maintained over its life, which is really important. You don't want things that aren't going to be looked after, and you have them on apartment blocks, but you'll also, if you're in a house on a new build scheme, there'll often be a smaller estate management charge as well, to again look after those communal areas, and just make sure that it stays as a nice place to be.
So I am right in thinking like all the communal gardens will be looked after, the cleaning, is that right? Does that all come in the service charge?
Generally, yes. I mean, every scheme is different in terms of what's included within a scheme, but typically, yes, any communal space will be looked after, maintained, hallways cleaned in apartment blocks, all that sort of thing. But every scheme is different, and it's really important that as a buyer, you ask for that management breakdown. You know, you look at what's included, what areas are going to be looked after, and Markus mentioned, you know, that is built into your affordability when you're putting all your numbers together. That's really important to understand what that looks like before you commit down the line.
Oh, 100%. Really, really good advice. Thank you. Another question. Sorry, did you have something? Sorry, Lauren.
Sorry, just to add on the back of that, it's also good to note that typically the ground rent is also included in the service charge payment, which is normally paid once annually for a shared owner. With B West, on all our developments, the ground rent is actually free as well, but that's also something to note with shared owners. It's something to ask. Also to note with service charge, every 1st of April, it typically gets reviewed. If you don't receive your service charge breakdown, ask for it. It should be posted out to you. Query it. You know, at the end of the day, you were the homeowner, so, you know, get involved.
Great, very much. Yes, very, very, very good advice. Thank you. Dawn, another question.
Yeah, so speaking of advice, what is one piece of advice you would give every first-time buyer?
Wow, that's a tough one. Stuart, I'm going to start with you.
Thanks, Lynda. Yeah, I think, you know, the most important thing as a first-time buyer is do your research, do your homework, look at the different options that are out there. It can be quite easy, you know, you're very excited, you know, you want to get onto the ladder, but look at the different options in different locations, the types of homes that are available to you. But I'd probably say the number one thing is to understand your finances, get finance ready. There's probably a better phrase for it, but to understand your position and get financial advice, get independent financial advice. And at Abri, you know, we can recommend really good independent mortgage advisors to do that. And you can understand exactly what your outgoings might be and that it all works for you, and that you're not going to trip up later down the line.
Absolutely, it's really good, because I mean, if you don't have an idea of what you can buy or what you can afford, there's no point in looking at homes, because you're going to get disappointed, because you'll fall in love with one which is really way out of your budget, and you know, there's nothing worse. So that's very good.
And you can do that before you've started necessarily looking at a specific new place to live. You know, you can just base it on a ballpark figure, start getting some advice, and understand where you lie and what you can afford.
Absolutely. Markus, can you give us a bit of an overview of what you feel about your top tip?
Yeah, sure. I think my top tip would probably be prepared for the paperwork. Don't be daunted by it, because there is a lot of paperwork when you're buying a property. But also don't be afraid to lean on the salespeople that you're buying from, because they will help you with it. At Catalyst, we do generally offer a contribution towards legal fees with some of our developments, so that's really helpful for some people. And we can also recommend some really good solicitors that you can use that money towards, so that's really good. But also the sales consultants on site are the experts in this, so they will also help you. So if you've had some paperwork come through and you're not sure what it all means, you know, don't be afraid to sort of pick up the phone or pop in and see the salesperson and just say, actually, what does this mean? Can you help me out with this? Because there will be a lot. I think the important thing as well is to remember that it does need to be completed. It does need to be returned, you know, and in order to keep that process going, you're going to need to spend some time, you know, so be prepared to have, you know, some kitchen table time with all your paperwork out and just go through it bit by bit. Get it in order, talk to your solicitor, talk to the salesperson, and just help them to get you through that process. But once you're done with all of that and you've reached your exchange of contracts, that's when you can put your feet up a little bit, really. So, you know, that's the hardest bit, is those first few weeks, but people will be around to help you.
That's lovely to know that there's a lot of hand holding at Catalyst, that, you know, people will pick up the phone and you know, explain what these, because people do get very, very put off by paperwork, don't they? It's a bit daunting. I mean, I do myself. If I think, oh, I can't fill that in, but
Yeah.
if you've got someone to ask and they will advise and just break it down simply, that's great.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've moved house myself recently, you know, and it doesn't get any easier for me, you know, and I like to think I know what I'm doing in this kind of industry and the job that I do, but it's still quite daunting. So it is important to take the help where you can.
Very good. So Lauren, what is your top tip for a first time buyer?
It's funny because mine is basically a combination of what Stuart and Markus have actually both just said. I touched on this earlier. You know, speak to your consultant. They are there to help. You know, think of not just the short term. People, you know, tend to visit a site that they fall in love with, but they don't think of the bigger picture. They don't maybe think of, you know, with the next 5 years. Or maybe the opposite. Maybe they see a development that they're put off by because they can't picture what the area will be like in the next 5 years. So the flip side. So definitely, you know, this isn't something short term. You know, your interest rate is probably fixed for 5 years anyway. So, you know, you need to sort of make a, you know, big boy decision, if that makes sense. You know, you need to look at it like in a way that this is your future. If you are ever stuck, speak to a financial advisor, use a financial advisor if you are stuck. Again, I'm sure Markus and Stuart can say themselves as well. They probably both used financial advisors when they bought. So did I. And that's for the same reason. And you know, all of us, as Markus just said, we like to think we know what we're doing because we work in the industry. So if we are using financial advisors, there's probably a reason for it. Yeah. And it just personally, the reason is it makes my life easier. They don't just help you straight away, they help you in the long term. They'll remind you when your fixed term is finishing. They'll help you with remortgaging. You know, they don't just help you today and that's it. They've dropped off the face of the earth, you know. Yeah, so I would say use an IFA, financial advisor, they're there to help. Ask your consultant anything. Don't think that there's anything your consultant won't want to answer. And definitely think of the bigger picture and think of the future, not just the short term.
Very good, very good. Do all of you have financial advisors that you could help people, you know, to find? Because, you know, again, I always say, don't just go down a high street and go into the first place you see. Does Abri, Be West and Catalyst all have people that are there that they can be referred to?
Yeah, if I can come in, Lynda. Yeah, I mean, we have several independent mortgage advisors, partners, companies that we work with that we trust and know that will give a good level of service to our customers. And I would actively encourage, as you say, Lynda, you know, Markus using an advisor. I've used one fairly recently, and it can be such a minefield. Getting that advice is absolutely key. There might be new mortgage products coming out that you're not aware of, different rates, different implications, and you know what, you might get a nice surprise and you can actually afford more than you thought you could. The great thing about getting independent mortgage advice as opposed to possibly a high street lender is they can see a broad range in the marketplace as well. It can really steer you to different options based on your personal circumstances.
Absolutely. So that's really good, because we often say to people that an independent financial advisor has the full market, whereas if you go to your own bank or your own building society, they're only going to offer you what they can.
And so, I think what's really important as well for our buyers tuning in is, you know, you're not committing to anything. You know, you can quite easily speak to an independent advisor. They can take your information, run some numbers, see where you sit. You're not committing to buying anything, and it's the best thing to do.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd echo that, wouldn't you, Markus?
I absolutely would, and I think that the one thing that I always tell people I think is really important to remember is don't be afraid of your circumstances. So even if your circumstances might be a little bit more challenging, we've helped lots of purchasers that have maybe had some credit issues in the past that have, worked with our financial advisors that we recommend, and they've managed to find them something that's worked really well for them, and they've managed to buy a new home. So, don't assume that your circumstances might prohibit you from purchasing, because very often there's still a route to do that. We're very lucky at Catalyst. We work with a couple of great financial advisors that don't charge our customers any fees for processing mortgages. So that's really good, and it's something that they do exclusively for us. So yeah, it's worth having that conversation. Absolutely.
100%, very positive, very. Thank you. Dawn, another question.
Yeah, so what is your favourite development you currently offer and why?
Well, these are really tricky questions, aren't they? So Lauren, what's your favourite one? I think you mentioned it, but you want to maybe tell us again?
It's difficult to choose, because this is something I actually struggled with when I started out in the industry, because you get very attached to your developments when you're selling them. So they sort of feel like, children that you have to eventually give away, and it's awful. And it's it can be quite emotional. So it's difficult to do at the beginning, because you get some sort of attachment to all the development you've sold, and not just that I'm selling now, that I've even developments I've sold before. There's still attachments to them. I still get pride when I drive past certain developments, But speaking currently, definitely one of my favorite developments is Waterside Heights. It likes to surprise you, is how I like to describe Waterside Heights, purely because everyone that has viewed it so far has been pleasantly surprised when they've been there. I think that echoes in the fact that we have couples recommending friends to purchase there. We have brothers and sisters purchasing there as well. Yes, it's definitely a development to watch, I would say, definitely one to view. But on top of that, we have 78 Barrowgate coming up soon, which is definitely a really nice development. So I'm looking forward to start selling that as well. These are all available. You can check them out on our website if you'd like to learn anything more about them, to those that are clocking in. But yeah, it's as I say, difficult to pick just one, because you always get an emotional attachment.
Yeah, I can imagine. Stuart, what's your favourite?
Take myself off mute. Phrase of the year. I mirror, like, every development is great in its own right, for many different reasons. We've if I was to pick one, we've got a really lovely development in a place called Fair Oak, which is just outside Eastleigh in Southampton. Really popular place. It's actually been voted in the top 10 place to bring up a child. Very popular with families, and we've got houses and apartments there, with deposits starting from as little as £4,500 on shared ownership. So that's the beauty of shared ownership. It brings lower deposits, it makes it more affordable, and you can get on that ladder. But it's a beautiful scheme. But yeah, all of our schemes are great in their own way, meeting the needs of different people. I think my opinion will probably be different to the next person's, but they're all great, Lynda.
Yes, of course, everybody's got a personal favourite of what they want, but that deposit is very low, isn't it? That's really good, excellent, and that's a lovely part of the world down there, isn't it?
It's very popular. Yeah, very popular.
So, Markus, what's your top favourite development?
Oh gosh, my favourite has to be Portobello Square, which is one of our most famous developments, I guess, really, and it is literally on the Portobello Road, which everybody knows, very famous location. And I think that the thing that I love about Portobello Square the most is it's a regeneration project. So it's not only enabling the current residents who are living there to have brand new homes, it's also building lots and lots of new homes for private sale and shared ownership as well. So there's a lot of different choice going on there. We're about to launch our next phase there, which is called the Aurea, and that will be launching in May, June time, so not long away now at all. But just the atmosphere, if you've ever walked down the Portobello Road, the atmosphere is just unique, and it's very, very special. And I think it's a very special area. And then I think probably my next one after that would probably be Aspire at St Bernard's Gate. It has a beautiful listed archway on the front of the development there. It's a really stunning development, coming towards the end of that development now, but it's been a really successful development, and we've not got many left there at all now, but they're going really well. It's a really good location just outside of Hanwell, so very accessible for everywhere you want to be, Crossrail, Central Line, so yeah, it's good.
And haven't you won awards for both of those developments, Markus?
We have. Portobello Square has won probably more awards than I can remember. It's a large development, so we've got about 1,000 new homes coming there altogether, so it's going on for quite a while. And again, Aspire at St Bernard's Gate again has won several awards. So we're very proud of both of them, and they're both very unique.
Very, very good. Yeah, walking down the Portobello Road, wow, can't get much better, can it? It's fantastic. No. Lovely. Another question, please, Dawn.
Yeah, why is your company part of National Home Buying Week?
So Stuart, why is Abri part of our wonderful home buying week?
Lynda, I think it's for many of the reasons that we've discussed already. I think it gives great exposure to every first-time buyer out there, everyone who's really trying hard to get onto the home ownership ladder, to answer all those questions, which can be quite difficult to find the answers to sometimes, or you've not found the time to ask those questions. And I think we play a really important role as housing providers to do things, webinars like this, to really push the information out to everyone so that it's really visible, and just to put that hand out, give everyone help, and to really just try and fill in the blanks a little bit and just help people along the way. It's a daunting process buying a house. I think anybody who says otherwise is telling a porky pie. It can be quite scary, and just to sort of have people that can put your mind at ease and just give you those signposts where to go first and what parts of the journey, I think is really important.
Absolutely right. Yes, it's the biggest thing you're ever going to buy, I would have assumed.
Absolutely.
I mean, massive purchase. So yeah. You're not going to walk into that lightly, and I think all the help that you can get is really important.
Absolutely.
Lauren, can you tell us why you joined up to be part of our National Home Buying Week?
Hi. Well, first of all, obviously, Lynda, to see you all again. I mean, that's definitely the benefit. No, I would definitely say Be West has joined. Obviously, it's a new company, as I said earlier. So we're a new branch of Shepherd Bush Housing Group. So we really are at the point where we're getting our name out there, but also I personally am at the point where sharing information is really, really special to me, and I can see that it's making a huge difference. I can, from having done a lot of these Q&A sessions and things, there's a lot of mystic, unsure, and a lot of questions still around shared ownership. And for a product that's been around so long, I mean, since before I've been around personally, how can there still be so much uncertainty around shared ownership? So it's just we're playing our part. We want to put an end to that. We want to make the buying process as easy as humanly possible. So so that's why we're here.
Very good. So Markus, Catalyst is our headline sponsor. Thank you again. Why did you feel that this week was so important?
I think, Lynda, we've had a great connection with First Time Buyer magazine and with readers, and obviously, this week being delivered to us through First Time Buyer magazine is great, and we're really proud to be part of that. I think, we've had some great awards given to us by those readers last year as well, which is really super and very close to our hearts. So I think, we like to do things a little bit differently at Catalyst, and if there's something that we can do differently, and this is great to be part of the first of many, I hope, for you. So it's good for us to do that, and I think as my colleagues on the panel have said today, for us to have chance to be involved in maybe helping somebody with information or dispelling a myth, or actually just giving them some reassurance that actually that everything's possible, you've just got to go out there and look for it, then that's great for me, and it's great for my team, so we're happy to be part of it.
Thank you. Well, on the magazine, we always have our slogan, you can buy your first home, because we think it is possible. And, you know, from what you've all said today, it is possible. It's just having to focus and do some of the things that you've advised, which are really, really good. We're coming very much to the end of this webinar, but have we got one quick question, one quick fire question, Dawn, that we could just go around our panel?
Yeah, what's the trend that you think first-time buyers are looking for in their new homes?
Okay, Markus, what trend do you think people are looking for?
At the moment, for us, it's all about home working, and our interior designers that you know, producing our wonderful show homes at the moment are very much briefed in finding that home working space. So you know, we've had some one-bedroom apartments recently, you know, that have managed to get a really good working space in there as well as everything else within an open plan living area. So it's possible, you know, and it works well. So you can get rid of the kitchen table and actually have somewhere to work. It's really good.
Fantastic. So important. I have an osteopath friend, and he's had more people phone him up with bad backs because people are working in really weird places. I mean, I know somebody that was using an ironing board as a desk. You know, it's just impossible. So yes, home working, obviously very, very good. Lauren, have you got?
Yeah, there's always things to add. I think people's needs are always going to change. However, nowadays, I would definitely say there's a focus that's really shifted towards outside space. So people definitely are looking to have the outside space, even west facing, to have the light sort of putting into their homes. But also the mentality is shifting from it not just being somewhere someone is sleeping at night, they're looking for homes. And especially, obviously, I do speak about mainly London. However, people do, you know, they've gone from having somewhere where they're just going to arrive at 9 p.m. and leave at 7 the next day, you know, to something that they're there a lot more of the time. So again, on the back of what Markus just said, we're gone are the days where you're looking at 45 square meter one beds. You know, they're now 57 square meters or bigger, you know, because people are working from home. They want the space, they want the outdoor space. Also, they're looking at the resaleability. People are really looking at buying somewhere that's going to make them a profit in the future. They're not buying somewhere forever. They're looking at it being an investment as well. I have one of my favorite quotes is, it's the most expensive gift you're ever going to buy yourself. And that's one of the reasons we put bows on the door when people complete, because it's a gift to yourself. But that's definitely, the focus is shifting. People are shifting focus to homes, not just somewhere they're sleeping at night. And that's really changing what they're looking for in their homes.
Yeah, very much so. Stuart, we'll have the last word from you, if that's all right.
Yeah, thank you, Lynda. Yeah, I think, you know, my colleagues on the call, a lot of it is around the home working, that new lifestyle, that balance. I think, Lauren, you said there about the outside space and, you know, how people want to live now. You know, everyone's mindset's really changed, and I think their views on what they want has changed. You know, especially in our operating area, Abri, you know, around semi-rural living, you know, that's becoming more and more popular. And how we can accommodate that, and making sure everyone's got the broadband connectivity that they need. You know, that's more important than ever, isn't it? And there's many benefits of buying new with that, because many places have the better quality fibre going to the homes and everything as well. So yeah, I think that's the key thing, making sure people have got that nice, safe, warm environment that they want to be in their community, and that work-life balance. So yeah, and you know, we've got a whole array of properties across our whole area, and all available on abri.co.uk. Little plug at the end.
Yeah, why not? Yes, and can you just remind us of Be West's website?
It's the same, but bewest.co.uk.
Lovely. And Catalyst is?
Catalyst, very easy, catalyst.homes.
Very good. And I will quickly remind you that our own website for this week, and it will obviously be up for not just for this week, but for always, is nationalhomebuyingweek.co.uk. Please do go on it. It's absolutely full of information, downloadable guides, videos, everything you possibly want if you're thinking about buying your first home. We will be having another webinar tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and I look forward to welcoming you then. If you haven't had the chance to see this today, then obviously do go to the Facebook page where you'll be able to watch it at your leisure. Thank you all very, very much. Have a lovely evening, and thank you all for joining us National Home Buying Week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.